Hello and welcome to Rough Cut Film Review. Before I start, the Rough Cut Film Review jingle competition is still very much open. You don't really win anything, but basically I want to get a jingle on the cheap, so get in touch on roughcutfilmreview@gmail.com. You will not receive a prize other than the excitement of having your jingle on Rough Cut Film Review, which, let's be honest, is very, very exciting. So here we go with the review of The Hammer of the Gods. Plot-wise, our hero Steinar, I think he's called, who's a bloodthirsty Viking type. He's busy raping and pillaging on Saxon lands. I'm assuming that it's the UK, but I know that Saxons actually settled as far away as Transylvania, so I'm making a big assumption on that. But I think they're in the UK. Steinar, whatever his name is a prince who likes violence. At the start, while campaigning, his father received a mortal wound and asked Steinar to head off on a quest with his drinking buddies to find his long-lost brother to come back and lead the armies. So Steinar and his merry band head into the heart of darkness, but it's really more dusk than pitch black. This is directed by Farron Blackburn, who has done a number of UK TV series, Luther, Doctor Who, Holby City and Casualty. The direction's perfectly competent, it's just not particularly interesting. The film can be broken up into three broad groups. One is the characters are walking, two is fighting, although you're not entirely sure what's going on at times, and three is dialogue, which often involves talking about gods and omens, and it doesn't really go anywhere despite all the walking. Themes, we've got honour, warrior code, religion, humanism and the like. There are hints that the film is going to go on about the rise of Christianity. It touches on it, but it doesn't really go into it. It looks like it's going to go on to a very sane man dispelling the myths and superstitions of the age. Doesn't really go anywhere with that. Very superficial level. Does it actually look at anything of any interest? Acting wise, we've got lots of dirty interchangeable characters scowling, walking and occasionally beating up what looks like the same extras time and time again. The most effective scene for me was when the merry band of casual murderers comes across a woman being stoned to death. There's an element of humour there, but again it never really goes anywhere. The trouble with the film really is it never gets off the ground. It's walking through similar looking fields and forests, interchangeable Norsemen doing stuff, little character development, little character arc, and ultimately if you've seen the Eagle, Ironclad or the History Channel Viking series, or even that rubbish King Arthur film with Clive Owen, there's very little in Hammer of the Gods to recommend it or to make it stand out. It's a film with very, very little personality of its own. It's really the definition of average with nothing to lift it off the ground in terms of plot, script, cinematography and so on. It's plodding, the exposition is dull and it's dull filmmaking. We also never seem to get all the way back around to resolving the issues that have led us on this quest in the first place, and that's rather frustrating. We also never really get over the fact that the Vikings, the protagonists, the people that we're supposed to sympathise with, are a really nasty bunch of murderers. There's some mention that, hey, if we don't do this then our people are going to starve, but it's very difficult to feel sympathy for people who think so little of murdering another human being. And spoiler alert, so please do turn off if you're the sensitive type, but for me, a film like this, there's a sort of promise of big set piece battles and it never delivers on that. The most we get is about 20 blokes hacking away at each other, and the film inexplicably ends just before the long-awaited battle. It's a bit like Leaving just before the signing of the Paris Peace Accords, or when you go to a gig and then the house lights come up just before the encore, something like that. It just ends right when you were starting to get some resolution. Instead of watching this, I'd recommend you watch Escape from New York or A Field in England or The Devil Rides Out or one of the Conan films, and I think you'll get a lot more fun. Kind regards, Christopher Thomas.